plaintiff, Patty Marshall, says the defendant is her neighbor. And since they met 3 years ago, it's been a nightmare. Patty claims the defendant has called the police on her and her husband numerous times. Patty suing the defendant for vandalizing her car and harassment. Defendant Jacob Elder Jr. admits that he's called the police on Patty and her husband and says Patty's husband even threatened him. Jacob denies damaging Patty's car and insists she's the one who vandalized his vehicle, so he's countersuing.
Start with you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. We're here because this neighbor, who has been a nightmare, back in 2010, he accused his wife, my husband, flirting with one another, so he got angry, called the police, and told the police he was mad because my husband wouldn't speak to him. After that, you know...
Is that true?
That's not true at all, Your Honor.
You didn't call the police about her husband?
He's not telling the truth.
Not for flirting with my wife. No,
What did you
not
call
at
the
all.
police on her husband for?
Yes, I called for several instances. He was menacing me.
Yeah, actually, he called the police and told the police that he was mad because my husband wouldn't speak with him. And I looked at the officer and said, am I hearing this correctly? Are you serious? He's wasting taxpayer dollars to have you come out here to tell my husband to speak to him? The police officer told him to stay away from my husband because he was on our property at that time. And, you know, after that, it's just been one thing after another, you know, and it's just been ongoing.
Have you asked your husband why?
Basically, my husband said in the past he had heard him and his wife arguing over the fact that his wife was speaking to him, and because he didn't want to speak to him. Jealousy, yes, sir. That's exactly what it all boils down to.
You know, after that, is handsome and sharp.
My husband's my husband.
Oh, you're not gonna get a man his props. I'm trying to. Let me see that. You're about to get in trouble. Go ahead.
Well, you know, he's handsome. Yes, he's handsome to me.
That's why he don't want his wife speaking. He's jealous.
That's exactly what it is.
Jealous of her husband.
Yes, he was.
That's not true at all, Your Honor.
You give me some background.
This is new to me about my wife. I didn't...
You knew she would speak to my husband, and when she would, then you would get upset.
Let him have his turn.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I know nothing about that. It was all over a parking issue. He, before he married her, he had dilapidated cars parked on the street for weeks, months at a time without moving them. It's a street with parking on just one side.
You and he discussed it?
With the police, yes.
Or you called the police and then discussed it with
Yes.
him? Why didn't you just discuss him like a neighbor? Hey, man, these cars are kind of like the neighbor. How long you gonna leave the cars out
When
here?
he first moved there, he wasn't approachable.
How so?
I did speak to him, and he just looked at me in a way and just spit on the ground.
When he saw you, you said, "How you doing, neighbor?"
Yeah.
He said,
That is just what happened.
"Okay, get to the car damages you're suing about."
Yes, Your Honor. Back in September of 2011, I was outside planting flowers, and my husband had just come home from work, and my son had driven up as well. And they had gone in the house after having a conversation or whatever, and I continued to plant flowers outside. As I was out there planting in my garden, I heard this ping, ping, ping noise, and so after I walk up the street, got to his house, I look up at the window because I hear the noise again, look, because I heard him with the pellet gun, and he's shooting pellets at my cars. So I yell at him, "Are you shooting BBs at my cars?" And he's like, "No, I'm not shooting." "Yes, you are." And that's when I turned around. I yelled for my husband, yelled for my son to come out there because he was shooting our cars with BB guns. So my husband said, "Call the police." So I called the police. Once I called the police came out, went to his door, he wouldn't answer his door. So after the police, you know, looked around and everything, left a card in his door and told him to call them, then the police officer came back and advised us, if you see or hear anything else, let us know. And I have a report from where I called on that particular time, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Sometime in November, my husband drives to work. I get a phone call at work. I get a phone call at work. My husband's like, "Babe, guess what? You would never believe what happened. What's going on? Somebody bust out the window in our Jag." I said, "Are you serious?" He says, "Well, I think it was some kids playing around." I said, "That sounds a little more serious." So he came home, he parked the car, I took a look at it, and I said, "You know what? it's this nut. I bet it is. So we couldn't prove it. We couldn't prove it because we didn't actually see it. So then my husband, he parked the car because it wasn't drivable. Then, you know, next day, he drives the next car to work. He calls me again, babe, somebody bust out the window, the side window in our Land Rover. I said, you know what? This guy's just getting out of hand. So I called the police. And once again, the police officer came out back in 2011 in November, and he took the report. It was just considered harassment or whatever. I don't know if they spoke to him or not, but at least I called. Mm-hmm. And I'm just a little tired of this because he's harassing us over and over and over again. Nothing's being done about it, and I don't think it's fair.
This is all new to me, sir. I did not knock no windows out of her car.
This is the first time you've heard any of this?
This is the first time I heard about me knocking out some, suspected or being suspicious of knocking out any windows in her vehicle.
How about Sean?
The same thing. I do not own a BB gun.
No, is this the first time you've heard it?
No, it's not, because that night the police came to my door.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't answer the door.
They told me that they did not see no damage on the vehicle, no propellants around the vehicle at all.
So they came to your door.
Yes, sir.
To say, hey, sir, we just want to let you know, we didn't see any BB guns around your house.
No, they told.
We didn't see any pellets around your door. We just wanted to let you know
around her
that.
vehicle. It was around her vehicle, yes.
Did they first tell you had been accused of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And did they ever come again?
They came another time when she said I had shot. Her vehicle wasn't on the street for about 3 weeks prior to her calling. Mm-hmm. She pulled in the driveway one morning, called the police. The police came up and told me that there was some damage done to her vehicle. Mm-hmm. And, I didn't know nothing about it.
All right. And, ma'am, did you ever show the police the damage?
Yes, I did. I have pictures.
All right. Very good. Let's see the pictures.
Pictures of the Cadillac.
I see where you reported it to the police.
I did report it.
And why do you think they suspect it was you, sir? Why do you think they told the police you were standing in the window?
I was standing in the window, but for a different reason. I need to explain myself. Sure. September 12th.
What were you standing in the window for?
I was waiting for my mother. My mother lives on the street. It was my sister's birthday. I was in the house in the dark, waiting for my mother to pull in the driveway. That's why I was in the window. Yeah, because I was in a depressed mood, because I was in the house by myself. My wife and daughter left me about 2 weeks prior to this incident.
So you're sitting in the dark?
Yes. Waiting for my mother to pull in the driveway, because my mother has knee surgery. I live on a slope, and I was waiting for her to come bring me some food from a restaurant, and I would lead her in because she had knee surgery.
What's your counterclaim for? $2,300. What has she done to you?
She was threatening me, thinking that I had caused damage to this car. During that time, I believe it's hail damage, because I had hail damage on my car during that time period.
You have pictures?
No, I don't. I did have a report for damages.
It's not hail damage. It was shot right on the side. Hail doesn't fall on the side.
Well, I still don't know nothing about it.
All right.
Well, Your Honor, if I may interrupt, I do have a note from my neighbor who also states that she knows the character of this person, and her car was also shot with the BB gun. The car that she had bought for her grandchildren, they moved the car off the street and put it in their driveway.
Hold on, sir. What have you done to this lady? She said, Jacob Elder, my neighbor, baby, is a lying, dangerous nuisance. Years ago, when he was a neighbor, he harassed my 2 grandsons. He loudly and viciously confronted me in public.
Yes.
He shot out a car window. He has put dents in more than one car of ours with his BB or pellet gun. This is her, sir. She says,
yes,
he is a real nut.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you, I'm just reading what the lady said.
Okay, and this just is a spillover.
Coincidentally, the same things happened to her that happened to them, and both parties believe
I know
you
nothing
did it.
about it.
Okay, I got you.
Yes.
And your harassment, how did they harass you?
She threatened to do something to my car when she thought I did something to their car. And in 2012, New Year's, somebody came in and spray painted my car.
Okay.
Yes.
And did you call the police?
Yes, I did.
And did they go and speak with her?
No, they did. No one spoke to me.
No, they didn't.
Okay, but they spoke to you.
Yeah.
About the BB gun.
And took a police report. No,
About
they didn't. Yeah, but they didn't speak to her.
Right. But when she called, they spoke to you.
Yeah.
So they thought it was worthwhile to speak to you about the BB gun incidents, but they didn't think it was worthwhile to speak to her about the paint.
I don't know why that is the reasoning behind it, but that's what happened.
All right.
You got the police report on
I
it.
have the estimate for the car, and
Let's
if you
see it,
want to see some more funny-looking pictures with BB guns and windows broken out, that's our Jaguar that he broke out the window. I saw him with my own 2 eyes.
Sir, you want to speak?
Yes, how you doing, Your Honor?
Fine. State your name.
George David Braun.
What do you want to tell me?
I'm her son. On that incident, we just got home. She was outside doing her little gardening, and she begins to scream. She said he got a gun. So me and my stepfather, we run outside because we was like, what the hell going on?
Watch your language.
I'm
son.
sorry. Previously before, I'm a little irritated with him just because I had a previous car before. And my stepfather, we always sit him talk, 'cause that's my dad. He got a thing with nails, putting nails on people's tires. I had to replace all my tires because when we went to the rim shop, he wound up putting the nails up under them. Now, there's no reason for all of us to sit here and lie and accuse this man of doing the same thing. And all the guys on the street, we all cool. That's our age to be going around somewhere and be doing this crap. You too old for that, bruh. You need to grow up. You a real grown man. Super grown. If you got a jealousy issue, that's perfectly fine. Go pray on it, but don't be mad at us.
All right, sir. I do have evidence, direct evidence of damage to her property by BB gun. She says she saw you directly. The son is here. I have a letter from the neighbor. And do you have any outside evidence from a neighbor about her or about anyone else?
Don't, sir.
And you say you were in the window. So I'm going to grant her judgment and I'm going to dismiss yours. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Now, I'm going to need you to stay away from my house, okay? Because if I catch you around there again, it's going to take more than Judge Mathis.
It ain't going to be a next time.
I just want him to stay away from my house, stay away from my cars, and stop harassing us because you're too grown and you're too old for this. I'm glad the judge saw you for who you are.
Yeah, he's seen it in the wrong light, unfortunately.
He saw it in the way that it happened, exactly the way that it happened. You're a liar. You also vandalize people's cars because you're a chicken and you're a coward. If you were a real man, you would have addressed my husband instead of addressing my vehicles. Bottom line, you're jealous because you don't have what we have, because God has truly been good to us, and you are strictly jealous. I don't want to hear it. Stay away from my house.